This is Scott from KIG. It's November 2019, and today we're going to do a runoff video of this brand new York Johnson Controls 28-ton low temperature chiller. We, KIG, Keith Industrial Group, are now one of the leading sellers and distributors of York Johnson Controls chillers. Most of the units, which range from 22 to 270 ton, are in stock in the Texas storage yard. Sometimes we'll bring and store units into our 13,000 square foot facility here in Clinton, Massachusetts, as we've done on this one here. This unit, as I said, is configured with a low temperature option, so it can go down into the 20s as far as fluid temperature or glycol temperature goes. It's an R410A chiller. The model for this unit, if you can kind of see it there, it's a very small, there you go, YCAL 0028 for 28 ton. The units that we stock all have common options, low and high ambient. So this unit has two fans here. One of them is controlled off of a VFD to achieve that low ambient. It's a single circuit chiller as far as refrigerant circuit goes, but it has two compressors. You can just kind of see, you can just barely see the second one back there. This is the VFD for the low ambient on the second fan. Micro channel, standard copper tube aluminum fin coils on both sides. A lot of surface area on a unit this size. We have the control cover off just for the demo. And one thing worth noting, before I forget, is we have what they call the rocker switch here in the off position. But note how the power is still on the screen. When you turn your chiller off, always do it here at the rocker switch, because in this state here, we still, as long as you see power on the controller, put this button off, the compressor heater bands are still on, and that's important. If you want to turn the chiller off by the disconnect on your wall, your main power supply, just remember that's only suitable or practical for long periods of time, because if you do a long power down, you want to have the compressor heaters on for at least 6 hours before you turn that switch off. For our demo here, we're using our own pump tank test system, which we've done literally hundreds of times. This unit comes with 2-inch connections, grooved connections. So you use these Victaulic type clamps here to transition from the 2-inch grooved connection over to NPT if that's what you truly want to do. We can help you source those fittings if you need them. The chiller comes with a flow switch, so that'll come loose in the box. You want to put that on your outlet piping, and typically you want to make sure it's at least 5 diameters away from the heat exchanger. But in this case here, the heat exchanger is farther in behind the edge of the chiller here, so as long as you have it right here in the next foot or two, it's fine. That's a 2-wire connection, the flow switch, and you can see we kind of snake it right here. And this is all in the manual, but you want to connect it to your terminal block on the right here, and it's 13, which is the common, and 14. Okay, that's your flow switch, so you want to tie right into the terminal block on the chiller. Also, unless you're using a remote remote start, and this is almost with any chiller, any of these new ones, you want to put a jumper between 13 and 51, and that jumps out your remote start stop circuit, so it runs just off local. We're gonna today just chill the fluid in this tank, which right now is about in the 80s. I'm gonna turn the one test pump we have on here, and we're running it. We have a flow meter. We're running a little over 50 GPM, 60 GPM. At standard temperatures, that's about Actually, you'll want to see a little bit more than that at standard temperatures. But for glycol, like 25F, what we're going to do today, when you take into consideration the derating of a glycol low temperature application, that 50 or 60 GPM is actually ideal. Still with the rocker switch in the off position, we can go to set points, and you can see we have the set point right now at 20. This unit is actually okay to go down to 20. The lower you go, the less BTUs per hour you can do, of course. Even though the controller allows you to go down to 10, the refrigerant configuration in this and style really isn't ideal for that. So this has a temperature range of 20 to 70. For the customer that this is going to in Illinois, their application going through a heat exchanger to cool some fresh water down to as close to freezing as possible. They're going to run at a 25F set point. So you can see after I press set points, you can just go up and down. Then when you press enter, it'll go down again to the range, and you can have an option of plus or minus 2.5, 1.5, or 2. That's basically your differential. So we're going to go ahead and just turn the unit on, and it's going to start chilling right away. So you can hear the compressors that have turned on. This is in this case here we have one compressor going. We have two compressor contactors here. Depending on the load and the algorithms in the controller, and the hot gas bypass option, the chiller will run one or two compressors as needed. Even though we have a variable frequency drive on one of the condenser fans, we still have two contactors here for each fan. A lot of the cutouts and the options for the low and high pressures and the low and high ambient, we already have kind of preset here because we're doing this runoff for this video and the demo for a customer. But all the new York chillers we sell with the York startup assistance. And you can just hear the second compressor just kicked on there. And so at the York startup is when they'll basically check your install and fine-tune some of the settings. And that's required for the 1-year parts and labor warranty. I stress the labor warranty because that's an important feature with our units. The status button right here. We go through that. That's showing you system 1, compressors run 2. Set points. Sorry, I meant to press operator data. So that shows you right now that we're the incoming or the return about 83, leaving's about 73. That's a pretty good delta T right now. That'll tighten up as we get closer to that 25 set point. So we don't have really a big heat load, or any heat load really, just the volume of the heated water or glycol in that tank. We'll come back to video number 2 as we get closer to that set point.